He was just a few minutes away from his dream job interview when he saw an elderly man stranded on the side of the road with a flat tire. He could have ignored it, but he didn't. Instead, he stopped to help, missing the chance of a lifetime. Little did he know, the man he helped was the CEO of the company he'd dreamed of working for. Fast forward to weeks, what happened next will leave you speechless. A decision to do what's right changes his life in the most unexpected way. Stay tuned to see how one simple act of kindness turned his world upside down. It was a bright, crisp Monday morning in downtown Atlanta. Marcus, a young black man in his mid-20s, stood outside his apartment building, his heart racing with excitement. This was his moment. The tech company he had been eyeing for months had finally called him for an interview. He'd worked so hard to get here, juggling multiple part-time jobs, online courses, and sleepless nights just to secure this opportunity. He had dreamed of landing this role ever since he could remember. This was not just another job. It was his stepping stone to a better life, a chance to prove himself, not just to the world, but to his family. He adjusted his crisp suit, checking his reflection in the window before heading down the street. His phone buzzed with a reminder, interview in 30 minutes. Be there on time. He checked the address again, mentally rehearsing his answers to the tough questions he anticipated. This was his chance to break free from the grind, to show the world his worth, to move beyond the limits that had been set for him by circumstances. As he walked briskly toward the subway, he thought about his mother's voice, echoing in his mind. Remember, Marcus, always do right by others, no matter what. It was a piece of advice she had ingrained in him since childhood, and he took it to heart. But this morning, the weight of his ambition was heavier than ever. What if this interview is my one shot, he thought. He checked his watch again, the time ticking closer. The hustle, the preparation, and the pressure to succeed all converged into one defining moment. He couldn't afford to miss this yet. Something inside him told him he was about to make a choice that would change everything. Marcus's pace quickened as he neared the subway entrance. He could feel the anticipation building, his mind racing through possible interview questions and answers. His phone buzzed again. You're running out of time. Hurry. It was a text from his best friend, reminding him not to be late. But as he approached the corner of the street, something unusual caught his eye. Figure standing near an old car, looking frustrated. It was an elderly man, bent over a flat tire, trying desperately to lift the heavy tire jack. Marcus paused. The man looked to be struggling, and there was no one else around to help. He had clearly been trying to fix the tire for a while, his hands shaking from the effort and age. His car, a weathered sedan, sat abandoned at the curb, a flat tire the only thing standing between him and wherever he needed to go. For a moment, Marcus's mind wavered. He had to get to his interview, but the sight of the elderly man, alone and struggling, tugged at his conscience. His mother's voice echoed again, always help those in need, no matter the situation. He glanced at his watch, then at the man, feeling the weight of the decision pressing on him. Time was slipping away, but Marcus couldn't just walk past. With a deep breath, he made the choice that would change everything. Excuse me, sir. Do you need help with that? Marcus asked, walking over to the elderly man. The man looked up with a relieved expression, grateful for the help. Oh, bless you, son. My hands aren't what they used to be, the old man replied, his voice laced with weariness. Without hesitation, Marcus knelt down beside the man and began working on the tire, his focus shifting entirely. He told himself he would still make it to the interview, but in his heart, he knew this moment felt more important than anything else. Marcus worked quickly, trying to push aside the growing sense of urgency in his chest. His fingers worked with practiced precision, carefully loosening the bolts on the flat tire. The man, still standing by the car, kept thanking him between deep breaths, clearly relieved by the help, but Marcus couldn't ignore the time ticking away. Every minute felt heavier, like a ticking clock, reminding him of the opportunity slipping through his fingers. He glanced at his watch again. The interview was already 10 minutes past the scheduled time. His heart dropped, the weight of regret pressing down on him. This was the interview, the one he had worked so hard for, the one that could open doors to a brighter future. His stomach churned with frustration. He had promised himself he wouldn't let anything get in the way of this chance. Yet here he was, helping a stranger, missing the one opportunity he had been dreaming about for months. Despite the nagging sense of disappointment, Marcus kept going. He couldn't abandon the elderly man now. He was already late, and in his mind there was no turning back. Maybe I can still make it, he thought. Maybe they'll still be waiting, or I can reschedule. I'll figure it out. But deep down, he knew it was unlikely. I've blown it, he admitted to himself, feeling the sting of failure before he even had a chance to try. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Marcus finished tightening the last bolt. The car was ready to go. He stood up, wiping his hands on his suit pants. The elderly man gave him a long, grateful look, one that seemed to say more than words ever could. I'm sorry, sir, but I have to go, Marcus said, glancing at his phone one last time. I had an interview, and I'm already so late. I don't know if I'll be able to reschedule it. The old man nodded, his eyes full of understanding. Don't worry, son. You did something good today. Not everyone would have stopped to help. You've got something that money can't buy: compassion. Marcus gave a tight smile, but inside he was battling with himself. I missed it. I really missed it. With a sigh, he turned to walk away, wondering how he would explain this to his family, to everyone who believed in him. But deep down, there was also a strange sense of peace. He had done the right thing, and somehow, that felt like enough, though. He still couldn't shake the feeling that he had just let go of something important. 2 weeks had passed since Marcus missed his interview. The disappointment still lingered, gnawing at him every day. He had sent a few follow-up emails, but the silence that followed only amplified his regret. What if that was my only shot? He thought as he walked through the busy streets of downtown Atlanta, trying to push the thoughts from his mind. He was back to square one, working odd jobs, trying to make ends meet, hoping for another break. One afternoon, as he was walking to the cafe where he worked part-time, something caught his eye. A well-dressed man, surrounded by bodyguards and a couple of associates, was entering a luxury office building. There was something about his presence. The way people seemed to give him space. Marcus couldn't help but feel that he knew this face. As the man entered the building, his eyes briefly met Marcus's, and for a moment he paused. "Marcus," the man said, his voice calm, yet familiar. Marcus blinked in confusion. It was the elderly man, the one he had helped with a flat tire that fateful morning. No way. Marcus rubbed his eyes, unsure if he was imagining things. "Is that really him, Marcus, right?" the man repeated with a warm smile, his eyes twinkling as though he recognized him too. "I thought that was you." Marcus stood frozen for a second before shaking his head. I'm sorry, but I think you're mistaken. I'm sure I've seen you before, but I can't." The elderly man chuckled, holding out his hand. "It's all right. You might not remember me, but I certainly remember you. I'm James Walker, CEO of Walker Technologies." Marcus's heart skipped a beat. The CEO of the company he had dreamed of working for. The same man he had helped with a flat tire. He couldn't believe it. It was like something out of a movie. "Wait, you're the CEO of Walker Technologies?" Marcus asked, still in disbelief. James smiled knowingly. "Yes, I am. And I must admit, when I saw you 2 weeks ago, helping me with that flat tire, well, that impressed me more than you might think. You could have rushed off to your interview, but you didn't. You chose to help, and that kind of character isn't something you see every day." Marcus was speechless. He had helped the man, not knowing who he was, and now it seemed that simple act of kindness had led to something far bigger than he could have imagined. "I've been watching you, Marcus," James continued. "I like what I see, and I believe you have potential not just to work for me, but to work with me. How would you like to join my company?" Marcus's mind was racing. This wasn't just a coincidence. This was his chance, but he was still processing the surreal situation. "Join your company," Marcus stammered. But I missed my interview. I thought I'd lost the opportunity." James smiled warmly. "I don't believe in missed chances, Marcus. Sometimes the right opportunity finds you when you least expect it, and helping someone in need. That was your interview, and you passed with flying colors." The words hung in the air, and Marcus could hardly believe what he was hearing. This wasn't just a twist of fate. It was a new beginning, one that came from a choice he made to do what was right. Marcus stood there, frozen, his mind racing, as James Walker's words echoed in his ears. "How would you like to join my company?" It was a question he had dreamed about for years, but the reality of it was almost too much to process. Just 2 weeks ago he had been standing in the middle of a street, frustrated with himself for missing the most important interview of his life. Now, in the midst of the bustling city streets, he was being offered a chance to work for the CEO of one of the most respected companies in the tech world. How could this be happening? James Walker's calm, confident smile seemed to reassure him, but Marcus still couldn't shake the feeling of disbelief. He thought back to that morning, the moment he had stopped to help the elderly man with the flat tire. He had missed his interview, and for a moment he had thought that would be the end of his dream. Yet, here he was, in front of the very person he had helped, being offered an opportunity beyond his wildest expectations. "Marcus," James said, his voice steady, "I've been in this business for over 40 years, and I can tell when someone has the right character. You didn't just help me with a flat tire. You showed me that you have integrity, compassion, and a sense of responsibility that goes beyond what most people would do. That's exactly the kind of person I want on my team." Marcus felt a rush of emotions flood over him: relief, gratitude, and excitement all at once. He had worked so hard to get to this point, but never had he imagined that doing something as simple as helping a stranger could lead to this. He had expected success to come through hours of preparation, through interviews, and networking. But this was different. This felt fated, like everything he had done up until now had been leading him to this very moment. "I'm not sure what to say," Marcus stammered, his voice thick with emotion. "I missed my interview, and now you're offering me a chance to work with you." James's smile deepened. "Yes, Marcus, you missed the interview, but what you did in that moment, the decision to help, to be there for someone else, that's the true measure of who you are. I don't just want someone who's qualified on paper. I want someone who understands the value of community, of compassion, and that's what you showed me." Marcus could hardly contain the overwhelming feelings welling up inside him. He had spent so much time doubting himself, questioning whether he was good enough, whether he would ever make it. But here, standing before James Walker, he realized that he had already proven himself in ways he hadn't even understood. "You don't need to say anything," James continued, sensing Marcus's hesitation. "Just know that I believe in you. I see something in you that most people overlook. You're not just looking for a job, you're looking to make a difference, and that's the kind of person I want by my side." Marcus took a deep breath, the weight of the moment settling into his bones. This was it. His life was about to change, and it wasn't because of a missed interview or a moment of luck. It was because of the choices he had made, the kind of person he had decided to be. With a final, firm handshake, James added, "Welcome to the team, Marcus. I look forward to seeing what you can do." As Marcus walked away from the meeting, the world seemed brighter. The weight of his doubts lifted. He had made the right choice that morning, and it had led him here, to a place where dreams weren't just made, they were built, one act of kindness at a time. Sometimes the greatest opportunities don't come wrapped in a perfect package. They come when you least expect it, in moments of selflessness and kindness. Marcus thought he'd lost everything by missing that interview, but in reality, he gained so much more. A simple decision to help someone in need changed his life forever. Remember, the right choice isn't always the easiest one, but it might just lead you exactly where you need to be. Don't just chase the job, chase the character that will get you there. Thanks for watching, and remember, what goes around comes around, often in the most unexpected ways.